Now, y'all, all I needed to hear was Giancarlo Esposito, and I knew that this was going to be what the people needed, okay? And what I needed. If you guys are new here, my name is Ashley, and this is My Sweet Perspective, where I give my take on all things TV and movie related. And I am back to put you on to a brand new show that premiered on Sunday, March 31st, called Parish. Now, Parish airs on AMC, AMC Plus, or if you get the All Black app, you can view it there as well. And when I tell you I'm enthralled, Giancarlo as a leading man has been such a long time coming, especially in that of a mainstream show. And I'm here to fully support him. This will be a 6 episode season. And I don't have any doubt that we are going to see hopefully many more seasons. Now, I will just kind of preface this by saying that this review recap is spoiler filled. So if you haven't watched the show yet, go ahead, watch it, and then come back, honey, and talk to me in the comments about it. All right. But let's get right into it. I will go give you kind of a brief overview, then we'll talk about the cast, and then I'll recap episode 1, which was just entitled the pilot episode. So let's get right into this cast. Okay, so of course, Giancarlo Esposito plays Gracian, aka Gray Parish. Okay, that's a family name, and then also it's in New Orleans, so definitely a nod to the parishes in New Orleans. Next, we have Colin, played by Ski Ulrich, which is an old friend of Gracian. They used to do dirt together back in the day. Then we have Erica Himmel, who plays his daughter, Michaela. Paula Malcolmson, who plays his wife, Roz. Now, Paula Malcolmson, if you have not watched Deadwood, what are you doing? Go back. Stop. Okay. Go back. Go to Max. All right. And watch Deadwood. If you like a Western, it gives everything you need. Next, we have Zachary Momo, who plays the horse, which y'all know. Dax Ray plays Luke, which is the horse's son. And then we have Ivan Mabalkop. Forgive me if I mispronounced that, who plays as the horse's brother, Zenzo. And then we have Bonnie Mabuli, who plays Shamiso Tongai. Okay. I'm not going to get into the rest of the cast right now because we really haven't met them. These are kind of the lead players that we have met so far, y'all. So let's get right into it. The show is really about this man, Gracian, who life of crime back in the day, okay? But he's put all of that away. He's got a beautiful family, and he runs a luxury car service, all right? That's where he's at present day. But let's get into it. So episode 1, we're immediately thrust into the action, okay? Gracian is on a high-speed chase. And I'm like, what is going on, sir? I mean, he's got his gloves on. Okay, like he's really like the transporter, all right? And he's being chased by the police. And I'm like, okay, is he gonna just, turn himself in, stop the police? No, no, no. And when I tell you he has expert handling, whiptastic handling, that's exactly what Gray has, okay? Because he outran the police. And so we're kind of all wondering, like, why are you running? What's happening? What are we in the midst of? Now we can flash back and start the story where it begins. So, it's the morning. He's getting ready for work. He's working out, doing his routine. Gray seems like a very regimented man, right? So he has a wife, Roz, of course, and she's getting, the daughter ready. She's in the kitchen. Are you going to eat today? Just typical mom stuff. And then they kind of have a brief interaction, and it's like, okay, he likes his wife, but he's ignoring her. A lot is on his mind, and we're immediately like, Gray, what do you have on your mind? You know what I'm saying? And she's like, I'm going to start a nudist colony where all they do is have the X. And he's like, okay, well, just make sure you invite me, but completely disconnected. And so you kind of are seeing something else is weighing heavy on his mind. Something else is going on, but we don't quite know yet. Daughter comes in and she's like, I got to go. So they're kind of passing as well. So you're like, what's going on? Next scene we see is him in what appears to be a bank, asking for a loan for his small business and being denied. Okay. So he goes and he's talking to his partner at the business, and they're like, listen, you have to tell us what's going on. And it's just a lot. Okay. It's a lot. And so later on that day, we actually see him go to his car. He's like kind of dusting it off on the street. and gets in. And who was in the back seat? None other than his old pal Colin. Now, apparently, Colin and Gray had done some dirt back in the olden days, right? Colin took the rap for it, didn't snitch on anyone. And I don't know if he's kind of holding that over his head. He kind of is, you know what I mean? And Gray is definitely one of them old school daddies, one of them old school men who's like, you snitching now? That's what we doing now? You snitching now? And I was like, it tickled me because it's seeable. You know what I mean? Very relatable. And so Colin's like, look, I need help. I'm on the struggle bus. And I need you to come through and help me do this job. It's just one quick job. It's not a lot. I just need to make sure you get me there and get me out of there. You know what I mean? I'll do the heavy lifting. And so Gray is reluctant, of course. But I think he starts looking at, okay, I've got these expenses. I've got these bills. What is it that I need to do? I'm going to go ahead and do it. Right. So then we see Gray go home, and he is there, and the mom and the daughter are sitting there at the dining room table. They've ordered a pizza. Mom's pouring wine for the daughter. And of course he comes in to the daughter, Michaela, like, okay, Michaela, you drinking now? And apparently this was his son, which we didn't even know he had a son until now, but this was his son's birthday. His son tragically passed away. And clearly there's still some emotions, a lot of feelings around that, which I feel like is kind of a nod to Your Honor. Again, definitely different storylines, of course, but this father-son bond, this father-son relationship is what is kind of ringing true for both stories. And I think the fact that they're in New Orleans too is kind of giving me the Your Honor vibes. But anyway, he's late, and they're sitting there, and he grabs a picture of the son, clears a spot at the table for the son, I guess posthumously to be there. And the daughter's like, why do we have to do it like this? Why can't we just eat regularly? And the dad's like, I don't know how to be regular. You know what I mean? So you can tell that this loss is so fresh and so real to him. And of course the mom's, trucking along, the daughter's trying to truck along too. And she's like, he would hate this, and then we get more information about Gray and his daughter, Michaela's relationship and how it's strained. She felt as though Gray loved his son more, right? Whatever the son wanted, the son got. If the son said, I want to drive, he built him a car, basically, is what she said. And so we kind of see that dynamic, and it is like, what is going on? Okay. Wife and Gray, Roz and Gray having a conversation. And basically, she's like, we're going to have to downgrade. The business ain't doing what it needs to do. I can only work so much. We're going to have to let this house go and find something that we can afford that's within our means. And Gray's like, no, we need to keep it. We're going to keep it. We'll do whatever. And of course, he signs on for this job. Now, the job is really elusive. And again, Gray's like taking the standpoint of, I just want to get this bread. I don't care really what the job is, what it's entailing, what it's going to do. But I think eventually he's going to care. You know what I'm saying? And so he and Colin are riding, and they're like, okay, you have to meet the guy. You have to meet the boss, the horse. Okay, please hold. And so they go and I loved how they walked up to this house in New Orleans, and it's historical New Orleans, right? They walk up into this house, and it's playing the song "The Rising Sun." There is a house in New Orleans they call the Rising Sun. Y'all know the song. That wasn't even in the melody, but y'all get the picture, okay? And so they go in, and immediately he's greeted by all these black folks, and I'm like, what's going on? I'm excited, right? It's giving luxury. It's giving all the things, you know what I mean? And so he's ushered in, and we see a group of gentlemen at a table, kind of raucous, and he's basically like, I need to talk to the horse. And so he's immediately sat down at this table with Zenzo, who's the horse's younger brother, I believe, and basically does kind of a pre-vetting. And immediately, Gray's like, you're not the boss because you have a Gucci shirt and like designer shoes. And so I know that you're not the big boss. And so Zenzo's kind of immediately offended. And Zenzo is a live wire already. It's like, you already don't like his character, and he hasn't even really done much, but it's kind of this air that he carries around, right? And you're like, yeah, I don't know about him. He's a live wire. I can see why he's not in charge. And so reluctantly, he finally gets ushered to see the horse. Now, the horse is completely different than Zenzo. He is like diametrically opposed to his brother. Okay. He's out there gardening. All right. Very peaceful, very in his element, very calm. You can tell he's like a calculated man, which is a lot like Gray. So immediately you kind of see this affinity between the two of them. Of course, the rest of the family doesn't necessarily want him to immediately be so trusting, but I can tell in that moment, the horse is like, I trust you. And so they have a conversation. Gray knows some about him, but the horse knows everything about Gray and actually even dares to bring up the son, which of course is a touchy subject, but you know, he gets hired on for the job. So Gray has this job to do. Fast forward, Gray is at this man's house picking him up and it's like, get in the car. Okay. So we know that the first round of cargo is a man. All right. And so we take him, and next thing we see, Colin is telling this man, you need to get in this safe and get this information, because apparently what's in this safe is what the horse needs to do whatever business they're doing. And so Gray is just in the car because, again, he's the driver. He's the transporter. And he's in the car. A homeless guy comes up and he's like, look, I'm trying not to be seen, because that was the main objective. Don't be seen, right? Or one of the terms and conditions, don't be seen. And so the homeless guy, he gives him the money, but then he kind of gets noticed. So when I tell you Gray gets out the car, blows the car up, gets rid of all DNA. Nobody notices him, gets in the new ride, picks Colin and the guy up. And I'm like, it was seamless. Gray is the person that you want when you're in a pickle, where cooler heads need to prevail. That's where you need Gray, because baby, when I say he's an artist at this thing, he's an artist at this thing. And so they leave there and they go back, bringing the guy with Colin to the horse or whatever. And apparently, the guy did something he shouldn't have done, right? Which is problematic. And I'm thinking, oh, are we going to let him go? What's going to happen? Because mind you, Colin and Gray are in here while the horse and Zenzo are talking to this guy. And the guy's like, you know, I'm a lawyer. I'd get disbarred. I don't have any reason to talk. But they're like, well, you talked to somebody. Something happened. And when I tell you Zenzo came with that crowbar, splash everywhere. It was a mess. Okay. And so we're like, okay. And I'm like, Zenzo, why would you do that? The brother's like, why would you do that? The sister comes in and she's like, well, I think they might have that. They might not be trustworthy either. And I immediately don't like the sister either, but for different reasons. And we'll get into that later on in the season, because I feel like she's going to truly reveal herself. And so, you know, Gray is shocked. He's shocked initially. Colin, I think, is with the stuff, because Colin, you're not really a good friend. You lorded over him that you didn't rat on him. And then you kind of get him into this situation where you know what's going on. Colin knew. And so Gray, you know, kind of plays it cool. And the horse is like, okay, we'll clean this up. And Gray's like, you know, I'll do it. You know what I mean? Just give me this, I'll be fine. And so even then, even more so, he's ingratiating himself to the horse, and the horse is going to give him more tasks. Immediately, it's like, I can trust Gray. Gray thinks on his feet. Gray is not problematic. He's not going to cause a scene, and this is exactly what I need. And so we are in this thing. I mean, you having to get rid of bodies, Gray. You locked in this thing. So I'm curious to know everything that's going to happen. From what I've read, they are into human trafficking, which is super problematic. Also, we're going to be introduced to a new character shortly, which I know from Handmaid's Tale, honey. And apparently he's another human trafficker. Listen, I need all the information, and I need to know if Gray is going to be the stand-up man that I think he is. And are we going to find out about the son, and if what happened to the son was directly related to Gray's previous career? But you guys, drop in the comments below. Let me know what you think of Parish. Like I said, I'm totally invested. Definitely will be coming back weekly to review. So join in. Let me know if you guys want to do some lives on it too. Maybe we can do a live review. That'd be fun. But anyway, if you are still here after all that, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see y'all in the next video. Bye.